Happy New Year's and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for the first chapter of 2025 of Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. I hope you all had a good holiday season and all that fun jazz, however you chose to celebrate it, alongside of the fact that whether your 2024 was good, bad, or indifferent, let's all hope that 2025 is better for all of us, definitely myself included. So, without further ado, there's a couple things I want to talk about, though, before we jump right into 266, which is quite a good chapter. I enjoyed this chapter. Unexpected, but sort of making a little bit more sense in a regard. Yes and no, we'll talk about it a little bit. But a beautiful color spread with the four dragons and Yona and stuff like that. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's just, all of them standing there and stuff. It's very well done. Sort of got that watercolor look to it. Very nice, very nice. This is something that I'm not sure if I knew that was confirmed and I've forgotten, or it has been confirmed and everybody else knows it, or I just speculated. But this is the final arc. Now, this color spread confirms it 100%. There's no, ands, if, or buts. However, that doesn't mean that means that this is ending in the next 10, 12 chapters. Will it pass the 300 chapter mark? Maybe. Hard to say. The arcs in Yona are quite vast. They're quite big. So, even though this is the final arc, where technically did the final arc begin? You could argue that after Cha-Gol died and stuff like that, that a new arc began. That this arc is almost basically just started last year. And this arc could go for another 30, 40 chapters. It's hard to say. I'm not sure. I just don't remember the words final arc on anything. I could be completely wrong about all this. And it's been confirmed that this has been the final arc for months, if not years. But as I said, it's sort of hard to determine, other than certain things like the rescue of Lily and stuff like that. It's hard to determine where an arc starts and ends in Yona. It feels like one very cohesive story. So arcs aren't so easily black and white, But anyways, yeah, so it is the final arc. But that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It was obvious that we were reaching that point, and I've been speculating that for a long time, that Yona's journey is certainly well past the halfway point in that regard. There's not a whole lot left of adventuring left to do when we're getting this serious into the game. So, jumping right into the chapter, after saying all that, jumping into the chapter, we still have Dragon God jae-ha, talking about, I don't have time to waste on you and all these things. You can either choose to leave or be destroyed, but keep defying me and we'll destroy you and stuff like that. And this is where jae-ha basically starts doing a little bit of trash talking and stuff like that. The black ooze, which is confirmed to be blood, like I've been saying this whole time. The black blood of the sea and stuff that races towards jae-ha. He uses it as a pivot to try to get behind this thing and kick him in full force. And everyone's like, Zeno and Kira, whoa, jae-ha, using the old noggin and stuff, but it doesn't matter. It's just like liquid, but it's almost like muddy liquid because it's sort of like ooze, because it grabs him and then jae-ha cannot pull his leg back out and stuff like that. Now, the Dragon God is impressed, but basically said, a regular human like you, at the end of the day, you have but a drop of my blood. You thought that you would be able to hurt me? A human could touch me and sort of idea. So it's pulling him in, and it seems to be, and it like melting him almost. It seems to cause him pain, and he starts to cry out about it and stuff, and it's like, you either leave or be destroyed. You can leave aside the Crimson Dragon for us for all of eternity and stuff like that. Now Kija and Zeno and stuff like that, they're like, get out of there, you have to run, you have to get out of here and stuff like that. And then the other dragon gods appear behind. There's the Shin-Ah dragon god and the Kija dragon god. So we have White Dragon and Blue Dragon meeting up with Green Dragon, and now they're all here, taking, of course, this very demonic, swirly form of, the current generation of dragons. I'm sure if the previous generation had shown up, they would take that form in that regard, right? So they're here and they're just like, what do you think you're doing? And then they're just like, oh, for God's sakes, we haven't been even able to do anything to this one dragon, and now we gotta fight 3 of these dragon gods. It's like, oh, what are we going to do? And as I said, my speculation was always that Yona awakens her power in some regard here, or the Crimson Dragon finally wakes up, you know? So they remark, like, what are you playing around with, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I'm not playing around. I intended to return them to Earth. However, they just didn't want to bloody go. So, no, I just said, you know, they refused to leave the Crimson Dragon. So I was thinking maybe I absorbed them instead. And they don't rebuff this idea. They're just like, you know, it's not a bad idea. In fact, we could retrieve the few ounces of blood we left on Earth. Well then, you know what? Yep. Whatever you decide. Hurry up, Green Dragon, absorb them, and then we'll get going. Stuff like that. Now, jae-ha, with his legs still stuck in this guy, that's obviously hurting him. This is some trash talk. This is what I'm talking about. He just goes, you know, even idiocy must have its limits. There's no way Yona dear is waiting for you guys. It couldn't be even less beautiful. Said, why are you so good at making her despair? You must always love, protect, and never betray? Don't make me laugh. You can't even get close to Yona dear without taking our forms. Pitiful. And I'm just... like, I thought it would end at the whole, there's no way Yona's not waiting for you guys. You 3? No. She gives 0 fucks about you 3. He just keeps going. It's like, oh, you're gonna love and protect and stuff. What a load of shit. You know, he's just like, you know, you're so good at making her unhappy so far. Good for you. She's in the depths of the worst despair of her life right now. And your whole, oh, we're always gonna love and cherish her and stuff. You're the ones causing her pain, you doubt it. Like, just completely just throwing shit wherever he can throw. He's just throwing shit at the wall, and it's not sliding down. That shit is sticking. That shit is sticking all over this wall because he just spouting fact after fact after fact, and it's just like, and I love the whole, you can't even actually get close to her without pretending to be us. You might be the dragon gods, but she wants us, not you. You're pitiful. And just the pitiful line. Doesn't even say that you're pitiful, just pitiful. Like, here's my speech. Pitiful. Like, the whole thing is just, yeah. Oh, man. And that was, you know, and Green Dragon God is just like, oh, he pissed. He grabs the arm, enough. And he's like, I'm going to take you down, sort of idea. I'm going to absorb Kija. I'm going to absorb Shina. I'm going to absorb everybody. And he's just like, yeah, I'm taking all of you, sort of idea, right? So we see them all take each other sort of out of the pool and stuff like that. Zeno's, of course, once again left by himself and says, like, let's just destroy them instead. They're an eyesore. And it's just incredible that he's like, Kija and Shina are just calm, and the dragon gods can't understand because they're like, we're gonna destroy them, blah blah. Why are you so calm and stuff like that? He's like, because jae-ha isn't wrong. And he's like, that's right, that was exhilarating to hear. And jae-ha's just got this big toothy smirk on his face and stuff. It was just like, that's what I'm talking about. They clearly cannot overpower. They can't defeat these things. They have 1% of their 99% of their power. Nothing they do is going to work on these things. So might as well trash talk them. Might as well shit talk them. Like, you guys are pathetic, you know? Because in a sense, they've become, as I've described many times, they have become overzealous. They've become obsessive. It's as I've always said, possession, obsession, you know, hate, desire. All these things are the flip coin of what love is, right? And as someone who has been going through this, as a lot of you viewers know, I can see how that it's that paper thin margin. It's the flip side of the same coin. The coin, you know, heads or tails that is love, has a very dark backside to it, and it's very easy for that to seep over, and sometimes the coin gets flipped, you know what I mean? So it's very easy to have that negativity and those toxic emotions and all those things, and you won't even recognize it, whether you're on the receiving end or the giving end, or even internally for yourself or externally. You will not recognize that is what's happening. And these dragon gods are not. jae-ha is calling them out for this and saying what we've always said. And I'm not condoning what the dragon gods have been doing. I'm saying that the dragon gods don't even recognize they're doing it. They're looking at the coin of love thinking they're on this side of the coin. They're not recognizing that the coin has been flipped for them for a long time and it's no longer love. It's based in love. I'll never say that. They do love the Crimson Dragon. But that love has now been dwarfed by the flip side of what love is, which is possessiveness, obsession, desire, all these things, and not in any way, shape, or form in a positive way. It's all negativity, and jae-ha is just pointing that out to them. So Zeno is just freaking out. Beautiful double-page spread coming up. Stop it, he yells out, and boom, out of him comes the final dragon god, the yellow dragon. It's like, wait, what? And even the dragon gods, huh? And the yellow dragon is not assuming Zeno's form. He is truly the yellow dragon himself. And it's like, wait a minute, why did he come out of Zeno? And this is where we're going to talk about a few things. After we get through this, because I do have a slight issue with this reasoning. It's not plot breaking, it's not retconning, and it does work for the sake of this scene, but it does eventually, when I sit down and reread the series and stuff, I'm gonna have a few questions for the yellow dragon as a whole. Just saying. But yeah, so Zeno immediately recognizes him as the dragon god and stuff like that, and he said, so for the yellow dragon god inside my blood to come out right now at a time like this, now there's more of them. The dragon gods have increased, and Zeno's thinking this is all despair and stuff like that. And so the dragon gods are thinking the same thing. They're like, fantastic, yellow dragon, you've chosen to finally join us, meaning the yellow dragon has not been in the heavens, has not been there, and thus has actually been inside of Zeno, which we come to find out has actually been living these 2,000 years inside of Zeno, dormant to a degree, but apparently was aware, had awareness the entire 2,000 years. And these dragon gods, they're like, oh, you've finally come back. It's like, it's been 2,000 years, but let us celebrate the return of the Crimson Dragon together. We are about to get rid of the fragments. Please, yellow dragon. Wait, what? What the fuck did he do? And he takes all 3 of the dragon warriors back. And the dragon goes, wait, what the fuck? What are you doing? And then yellow dragon. I was like, I did not see this guy. I don't think anybody called this. I don't think anybody thought of this. I didn't see a single theory about this one. Everyone was talking about Yona, because Yona's the main character. Of course, she's going to get the Crimson... We haven't actually seen the Crimson Dragon himself. Where is this supposed Crimson Dragon? Wake up and slap down your subordinates, right? But, no, the Yellow Dragon returned the Crimson Dragon to Earth. Doesn't even say, you won't harm them. No, he's like, no, Yona's going back. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. And then everyone's shocked. Dragon warriors, the dragon gods, Zeno, everyone's shocked, and they're just like, what? He's like, the Crimson Dragon. No, Yona, and uses her name. Does not refer to her as the Crimson Dragon. He says the Crimson Dragon, what you refer to it, and he goes, no. Yona, her lifespan has yet to run out. To bring her back to the heavens is no different from killing her right now. And I'm like, oh. That kind of... You don't really think about it, because whenever you think of heaven, and this place is absolutely the astral plane that human conception would call heaven. This is where the souls will end up, or eventually the Crimson Dragon will end up. This is where peaceful souls do end up. This is heaven for all intents and purposes. But we never stop to think about the thing that if you go to heaven prematurely, that is in effect killing you. You're dying. Only souls go to heaven and hell in most descriptions and depictions of heaven and hell. Mortals don't go there. Mortals don't live there. So you give up your life if you enter the gates of heaven. Whether it's the good place like heaven or the usually depicted as the terrible place like hell, it doesn't matter. You are still dead. So to go there prematurely is, as the Yellow Dragon said, that's killing her. Said, do you intend to kill the Crimson Dragon? I love how he's turning the logic around the Dragon Gods. The Dragon Gods try to fight back about this. Says, no, we don't want to kill him. We just want to return him where he belongs. Now remark, returning the Crimson Dragon as the he. They have no love for Yona as a person. They only care that she reincarnated as the Crimson Dragon he, not the other way around. And even says, we told him numerous times not to go. Like I said, hold on. All this is the Crimson Dragon's fault, just saying. Still on that bandwagon. This is confirming or solidifying my theory that the Crimson Dragon is actually at fault for that flipping of that coin analogy, like I was saying about the Dragon God's love. Flipping that coin was due to the actions of the Crimson Dragon. And they should have been intuitive enough or less selfish to recognize that that was going to happen. And even says, like, we asked and, well, told him in this regard, but asked, told, whatever, numerous times not to go. We even told him to return when he was about to be executed by humans. It was like, yes, please come back to us. The Crimson Dragon did not return, even after his body had perished. And it's like, so where was the Crimson Dragon's soul for these 2,000 years then? And in that regard, once again, we'll probably get the full story, but this just once again is solidifying and adding more evidence to my idea that the Crimson Dragon is at fault for all of this, and incredibly naive and selfish. Because not only did, okay, we don't want you to go. We don't want you to go. Please don't go. We're telling you not to go. Do not go. Nope, goes anyway. It's like, all right, it's there, fine. Well, we'll give you some drops of our blood, blah, blah, blah. We'll make you some dragon warriors at least, because we love you so much, yada, yada, yada. And even when he lived out his life as King Hiryu, as the Crimson Dragon on Earth, and once he died, once he perished, what did he do? He didn't go back and say, in about 2,000 years, I'm going to reincarnate. I don't know if this was his choice and stuff, so there is some holes depending on how that works. But by the sounds of what the Dragon Gods say, is that he chose, after his body perished, he could have returned to the heavens for the last 2,000 years. He chose not to. So for 2,000 years, he did what exactly? He wasn't living a life away from the Dragon Gods on Earth. He wasn't enjoying humanity. No, he was in some dormant fucking state instead of pacifying these Dragon Gods who became obsessive every minute of every day of every year that passed for 2,000 years. They became more zealous about getting him back to the heavens. And what did this stupid motherfucker do? He stays dead and dormant, from what we understand, for 2,000 fucking years. At least take a vacation up to the heavens and try to placate them a little bit. And then go back as Yona. Like, for 2,000 years, you weren't doing anything. You could have at least said, alright, you know what, I'll tell you what. I'll give you half a millennium. I'm going to sleep for about 500 years, right? I'll give you the next 500. Then I'm going back to Earth for about another millennia, give or take. And then we'll see what happens at the end after I reincarnate. What do you think about that? That would have been at least an olive branch for these fucking guys, because the only reason they are so obsessive, and the only reason that coin is flipped so far, and now they are these evil intended dragon gods, is all due to what his actions provided. And then he literally slapped them in the face again. By being like, alright. But they were sort of like, okay. Because obviously he didn't tell them, I will never come back to the heavens. He left. Obviously did not tell them that. And then it's like, alright. So we'll be patient and we'll wait for the human's lifespan to run out. Then it runs out and they never return. So now they got to wait for the reincarnation. The reincarnation comes back. And now they finally get the chance on this. They're like, we're not giving this shit up. Like, once again, this is all the Crimson Dragon's fault. So, yeah. Once again, what the Dragon Gods are doing right now is wrong. But their reasoning and why they are doing it can all lead back to that. You know, these are not the actions. This was a cause and effect. The selfish actions of the Crimson Dragon caused this, and he should have known better. That's what I'm saying. The actions of the Dragon Gods are their own, and they are responsible. I'm not saying that they're squeaky clean and absolved of any of this. I'm saying that the Crimson Dragon caused this. He's the catalyst, causing all this mayhem. You know? So, it's no different than you don't forgive a guy who becomes like a murderer or whatever, or becomes a criminal because he got abused as a child. Well, no, we're not forgiving his actions, but if his mother wasn't a child abusing bitch, he probably wouldn't have turned out as a criminal. Now, would he have? So the responsibility there is still responsibility and accountability on the bad mother of the criminal, right? Now, of course, this doesn't work for every criminal and stuff. I'm just trying to paint a little bit of a trail. I'm like that dude on the meme with all the red, the detective shit going, it's all making sense now. Look at my blackboard, Like, it all connects. It's all his fault. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, continuing on, the Yellow Dragon is there being an absolute boss, being like, whether the Crimson Dragon returns to us or not is his decision. Fair enough. That is a good point. He said, when we bestowed the 4 dragon warriors upon him, we decided that we would watch over him. That was our choice. Just like his choice was to go to Earth, our choice was to continue to watch over and protect him. We, the gods, decided this. And if we break our words so lightly, it would mean that all promises would be lost. I'm like, alright, this guy's going for the high tier. This guy's, And now they try to argue again and say, Yellow Dragon, we've been waiting for the Crimson Dragon return for a much further away place than you. Meaning they're somewhat jealous of the Yellow Dragon's closeness at this point. If we miss this chance, we might never be able to see him again. Yeah, so once again, this is coming from a place of absolute devotion, and at the end of the day, it's still coming from a place of love. They miss the Crimson Dragon. They absolutely are beside themselves. They've been waiting forever. They are like a loyal dog waiting out, like that Futurama episode, waiting out in the rain. Do you blame that fucking dog? For anybody who saw that, I didn't even watch Futurama, but I know all about that episode, and that's heartbreaking. The dog that waited and waited and waited. The Charmander episode in Pokemon. Like, when you start doing it as an animal, devotion seems so commendable, seems so honorable, seems so touching. When it's done from a humanoid, we call it obsession, we call it possessiveness. I love that we depending on the circumstance, the exact same actions can be referred to as benevolent or evil. And in this regard, that's all that I'm trying to make the comparison to, is that these are basically just the loyal dogs of the dragon who have just been waiting for their master to return, and he is not, they're waiting. They're just loyal dogs. You can't fault them for their loyalty and the fact that they missed their owner, Like, at this point, that's sort of what they are. Now, maybe that comparison doesn't completely work. I don't know, but I'm just seeing it. The more and more I read these chapters, and the more and more every time they have a speech bubble, it's like, yeah, I'm drawing these lines, and this is a really gray area where the Crimson Dragon becomes more and more the one at fault. The Yellow Dragon does, like, they just continue this speech and stuff like that. If we miss the chance, we won't be able to see him again. The Crimson Dragon has once again found people that he loves on Earth, just like he did last time, 2,000 years ago. Because he has forgotten about us. See? It's the abandonment, which is what the Crimson Dragon did. He abandoned the Dragon Gods. Once again, if we take this out of the relationship aspect, like my wife left me, so she owes me nothing by that logic, and me harping on her, that's just, oh, I'm possessive and blah blah blah. But all of a sudden, if I leave my dog out in the rain and the cold, well, now I'm a horrible person. See how it's sort of, you know what I mean? So he's forgotten about a sort of idea, like he's moved on from us. He got a new dog, I love how it's the difference. It's like, to use the comparison, it's like a new boyfriend, that's okay, but getting a new dog and forgetting about the old one, that's horrific. But ditching your old boyfriend, that's fine, and getting a new one. When you upgrade or change or whatever like that, it just... You see what I'm saying? This whole thing really makes me think. I guess maybe it's just me, but this really does make me think. So they try to plead with the yellow dragon, and they continue to say, join us, please come back with us. The heavens are lonely without you and the crimson dragon, meaning that, of course, he hasn't been there for a long time. At last, after several thousands of years, we are all together again. Now, several thousands of years. That's interesting as well, because so it hasn't just been the 2,000 that they've been on Earth. What do you mean? What do you mean several thousand? Where has the Crimson Dragon been before he was King Hiryu? And where were the Dragon Warriors, or at the very least the Yellow Dragon, this whole time? Is after several thousand years. This could imply the Yellow Dragon hasn't been there for over 2,000 years. It can also imply that King Hiryu was not the first iteration of the Crimson Dragon King. That the Crimson Dragon left the heavens several thousand years ago. That could be a mistranslation or something, but it is what it is and stuff. So the Dragon Warriors all think about this and remark about how good it felt when they all came together as one after so long. When jae-ha, Shin-ah, Zeno and Kija were all together, they were like, it feels just so right that we're all finally together again. That pull from their blood makes them feel at home. And they're sort of empathizing, I think, in this one panel or this page. They're empathizing with that feeling because they know exactly how it feels to be home, right? And they're empathizing with this, as they should. As I said, I don't think the dragon gods are entirely evil here. The yellow dragon he doesn't... What I like is he doesn't try to counter that point. He's like, because they're not wrong, and I like that. He just says, nevertheless. And when someone says, however, or nevertheless, they always mean like, I'm not going to try to dispute your point because you're not wrong. But, there's always the but. We will not be able to stand and watch as the Crimson Dragon continues to cry for the rest of time, longing for her life on Earth. And there it is. It's like, so the Yellow Dragon is sort of playing devil's advocate here. He agrees with his brethren, but he also knows that, and it is harsh, but in truth, Yona will never be happy with them. And we will never be able to make her happy. And we will not be able to stand by and watch her in agony for eternity. It will ruin us. It'll ruin her. It'll ruin us. This is not the right way. He's like, so I think at least what the Yellow Dragon is trying to say is like, it would be great if that were the case. Your vision. But that's never going to happen. Not the way that this is going down right now. Maybe one day. But not like this. Like this is never going to... You will, if everything goes the way you think it will, it's still not going to be what you want. So there's no point in doing this. Is basically what it's saying. What you're doing right now is irrelevant because you're never going to get what you want if you force it this way. So, unable to protect her, we forced our love upon her, and then we betrayed her. And then this sort of ruins the dragon gods because once again, this zealousness, this obsession, this devotion that reached this point has just completely warped them. And now we're seeing the warping now that these words are holding true from one of their own brethren, and it's warping them, and it's dissipating them, and they're just like, they don't want to hear it. It's actually hurting them to hear it. And he just continues and says, listen, let us turn the 3 dragon warriors back into humans. That is what we promised the Crimson Dragon after all in the first place. It's going to turn Kija, Shina, and jae-ha. They're going to live long lives, and they're going to go back to being humans. So I doubt they're going to... So no claws, no eyes, no leg, no nothing, right? And he just continues to say, if you forsake your contract, you all will... And then it's like, no, we're going to turn them back into humans. We will. And they're just warped and stuff like that. It seems like the yellow dragon has hold. This is what I wish we had a little bit longer with this, of them being warped by the yellow dragon's words, because I don't think the yellow dragon is necessarily the right hand or the one most in charge or something like that. But it seems like his words are having such a big effect on them, and it's twisting them, and he's completely convinced them that, yes, this is what we must do. You must listen to me, almost like coercion. And it seems to work. It's like, no, we're gonna turn them back into humans. And it's like, it's almost painful for them to listen. Like, jae-ha has already spoken about this. Yona has already told us. Zeno told them this. And they were just all high and mighty. The yellow dragon telling them this has basically made them all like almost turn back into a mist at this point. And I mean, we can speculate as to why this is, but that leaves it incredibly open-ended, and I could go another 20 minutes discussing how and why the yellow dragon's words affected them in this way, because he didn't seem to do anything completely. He didn't say enough or something, and like, boom, the power of the yellow dragon. Nothing like that. It just seemed like the speech finally got through to them, and the whole breaking of the contract. Maybe hearing this from the yellow dragon. My best theory right now is that hearing the same words from the yellow dragon about breaking your promises and your conviction, your love, you're betraying the very love you said that you would always follow, the thing you've condemned the dragon warriors for in Zeno. You yourself have just been breaking the contract and the promises and stuff, and hearing it from one of their own gods has their warped selves are finally like breaking through that mold and being like, oh no, that can't be right, that's impossible, search your feelings, you know it be true, you know, all that stuff. That's my best guess, I suppose. Either way, they're sort of like done with, I guess. Zeno is pulled back under by the yellow dragon. He goes down with all 3 dragon warriors and says, let's go to Yona's side. So he continues to, so he grabs Zeno, he grabs all 4 dragon warriors, he flies out of the sea of blood, and this is where the dragon gods are still like, wait, no, this can't be. So they were vastly affected by this, but they're still, you know, they're not cured or anything, so they're still going after it. It's like, why, yellow dragon, why? And they try to catch him, and of course the yellow dragon, they try to reach him, but they can't. These warped forms, they claw up, they try with this ooze. The yellow dragon just like Shenron and just fucking goes on, and he continues to go forth, and Zeno just looks back and like, yellow dragon doesn't seem to give a shit. He's like, no, I'm outspeeding you right now. I'm outspeeding you. My stat speed is really, really high, you know, S ranked. So Zeno starts remarking to him, referring to him just as Dragon God instead of Yellow Dragon, and says, you were in my body the entire time I was on Earth, which is sort of what I want to talk about. He said, so why are you siding with us now? They're your companions, aren't they? And he said, back then, weren't the 4 dragon gods and the Crimson Dragon the same as the Mist and the 4 dragons now? Remarking back to the empathy when they referred to the whole, we feel complete finally. And they could all empathize with that remark. It's like, so did we. With the yellow, and Zeno just brings it up blatantly and says, you feel the exact same way, all of you. That's all you want. You want that family to be whole again, sort of idea, and you feel incomplete when one of you is missing. And that's a really nice message to send in one regard. It is a very nice message to send, that the family isn't complete unless all the family is there, you know. And, you know, sometimes that's not possible, but it is definitely a thing. So the yellow dragon just remarks and says, forgive them, which, as I said, I definitely have. I'm one of the few, I think, in the community who has. It says, we dragon gods truly cherish the Crimson Dragon. And I fully believe that. It says, but it turns out that I walked beside you for far too long. And that's the end of the chapter. Amazing chapter to start off 2025. I'm just going to say that. An incredible chapter. And I know this review is super long, but you guys love it, don't you? You love when I have a 50-minute review on Yona. So, yeah, the one thing that so the idea here is that the Yellow Dragon, for some reason, out of the 4 of them, I don't know why the others chose not to do this. Maybe only the Yellow Dragon can do this. And is this the reason why the Yellow Dragon's ability, why he could never die? Because he's technically a host body for the actual Yellow Dragon god. And that's why he was never going to die. Maybe there's a lot of questions there. Then why he was the one to be ever living. And the other ones, why Zeno's body could take it and nobody else's could. Why he doesn't live a short lifespan, etc. Is because, now, why didn't the other dragon gods do the same thing? Or could they not? They remark that they know the Yellow Dragon's been doing this. You've been close to the Crimson Dragon. We haven't been. You don't understand our loneliness sort of idea. The Yellow Dragon still gets it, and here at the last page he's remarking that, I was changed by you sort of idea. Being a host, being inside your body for so long and being aware of everything and living your experiences, I've basically been around you too long. This implies that the Yellow Dragon himself recognizes that if he had not been on Earth inside of Zeno and experienced 2,000 years with Zeno, but both with Hiryu and now with Yona and the other Dragon Warriors and all the feelings towards the Dragon Warriors and the Crimson Dragon stuff, this implies that the Yellow Dragon himself is sort of not self-actualizing, but he's self-diagnosing in a sense. He's just basically trying to say, I would probably, please forgive them because I would be exactly like them right now had I not been inside your body this whole time. And I know what Yona needs. I know what the Crimson Dragon wants, and I know what Yona needs. And regardless how much we love and cherish the Crimson Dragon, at the end of the day, it is his choice whether he ever returns to us or not. We can't force that upon him, and the Yellow Dragon is basically saying that I only learned that by walking alongside of you all these years. That's a really nice sentiment, but it does open the question as to why did the Yellow Dragon do this? Why didn't the other dragons do this? Right? What was the purpose there? And also, why is this the first sort of time we're hearing about this? Still, because we still don't know where the hell Zeno got it into his head that all this, the killing this, stabbing myself with the sword, blah, 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 all this shit would work. We have no concept of where he heard this prophecy or ritual or whatever. And clearly it wasn't from the Yellow Dragon, because he himself was like, no, you do not, he might be on Zeno, and he's not on Zeno's side. Clear distinction. He's on the side of Yona's happiness. He is the only uncorrupted dragon god who wants the Crimson Dragon to be happy above all else, even their own love and selfish desires. Regardless how selfish the Crimson Dragon is, regardless how selfish the dragon gods are, the Yellow Dragon is stating that if we truly love, it's that whole, which I don't buy, the whole concept, if you truly love something, you'll let it go. No, that's a stupid fucking saying, okay? You gotta fight for your love. Like Keanu Reeves said, you gotta fight for your love. You gotta be to be a lover, you gotta be a fighter, because if you don't fight for your love, what type of love is it worth? So same idea, right? I never believed in that sentiment, but what I do believe in is that sometimes you have to put the happiness of somebody or something you truly love above your own happiness. And that's absolutely the case. Now, that doesn't excuse a lot of certain things, leaving people, ghosting people, etc., etc. But what I'm just trying to say is that sometimes you need to sacrifice something that you want to do, a selfish desire of yours, so that they can have theirs. And if you truly love someone, you will do that for them. You'll, say, hey, we can do A or B, but if A is what you really want, and even if I feel like B is the better decision, I'm going to support you with A, and I'm going to help you go with A as a decision. And I think a lot of married couples and just relationships in general should follow that same idea. That's how you can know someone truly loves. I know I personally, without details, that I've certainly done that many, many times in my own life. Not that it counted for anything, obviously, but that is part of it. And I think that the yellow dragon is at that stage where he's not 100% on anybody's side. He sees, as I pointed out many times, he sees the dragon gods and what they want, and how there's, that's coming from a good place. He's empathizing there. He empathizes with the dragon warriors, and of course he empathizes with Yona, but above all, Yona is his priority. Yona's happiness is his priority, and he's putting that above all else, but beyond his own desires, beyond the dragon warriors' desires, and beyond the own dragon god's desires, is that Yona's happiness is what, at the end of the day, if we truly love Yona, we want Yona to be happy, right? So that is certainly, it's a very powerful message, and there's a lot there, and as I said, I've already talked for 45 minutes about this, but yeah, it was such a strong chapter to open up 2025 with. I absolutely loved it. I have really no honest complaints. As I said, it opens up questions about why the other dragons didn't do this, and then maybe they wouldn't be corrupted, and yada yada yada. Like, why didn't they leave the heavens too? If the yellow dragon loved them so much, or could only the yellow dragon do this? And why could only the yellow dragon do this? It opens questions that we probably won't get the answers to, so that's the only real flaw. As I said at the beginning of the video, that's the only real flaw I have with this whole the yellow dragon was inside Zeno the whole time, the actual yellow dragon. If that never gets explained, then there are some open-ended things that it's like, well, we could have solved A, B, and C a long time ago if you guys had just done, so... Anyways, other than that, though, 266 was a phenomenal chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I think that's enough for me for the day, don't you? So definitely let me know what you guys thought of the chapter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And we'll see all you wonderful people next time for chapter 267 of Yona the Dawn. I'm looking very much forward to it with such a stellar chapter. And we can build upon this incredibly well, I think. So, yeah. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys and gals are too. And we'll see you back here next time. Have a good one. See ya.